Welcome to Xero Hero, a short video blog from HBA Encompass aimed to make your Xero journey easier. Please note that all the slides today have been created from existing Xero training videos. Xero has rapidly changed in the past few years, so sometimes the pictures are using old screenshots or overseas versions. Where possible, each session is followed up by a live demonstration. If you have any queries regarding any content delivered today, feel free to contact me via email, victoria@hbaencompass.com.au or phone 0754 447094. Welcome to Sales and Online Invoicing. Xero makes invoicing your clients and getting paid fast a seamless process. There is the ability that when you email your invoices to your customers, they can access the invoice online and then pay directly in a click of a button. If they use Xero too, they can save their invoice directly from Xero. So let's have a look at online invoicing. So on your Xero dashboard, you go into Accounts and Sales to get to the Sales dashboard. From there, you can see that you can search for invoices. That's the purple bit circled here in the slideshow. So you can search by name, invoice number, reference, and you can then search within the actual heading or the invoice. You can search by dates, and you can search for only ones that are unsent. So very easy to find the invoices that you want to find if you need to. The next bar down is the one that's outlined in red, and it shows the amount of invoices you've got and the dollar value at what stage that it is. So you can see to the left hand side there's 3 draft invoices totaling $747.20, or we go across to the 3 that are awaiting approval, 10 that are awaiting payment, and 4 that are overdue. And you can see there that the overdue ones are nice and red to bring your attention to it. If you want to actually see what's in there, it's a matter of clicking on each box and it will then bring up the list of invoices. You can also go back up to where the invoice wording is here and look at paid, repeating, or just see all if you wanted to. And just to make it nice and pretty for us, for those of us that don't love numbers as much as possibly I do, there are some nice graphs there that show you what's coming in and where, and then the people that owe you the most, so you can actually see who your top customers are that owe you the most at any one time. You can navigate the columns, so assuming here that we've clicked on the awaiting payment tab, as with anything Xero, anything that is blue you can click on. So you can sort by invoice number, who it's to, the date of the invoice, when it's due, the expected date, whether it's paid or the amount that's due, or if it's been sent or not. Now, one really cool feature that Xero has is an expected date. So if you're talking to Bill from Solution Consulting and he's got an invoice there that's going to be late, you can actually put a note in there and change the expected date to what it is. And what that does is when you look at your main dashboard and it shows what money is coming in, it will actually show the expected date, not the date that the invoice is due. So if for some reason you've done a deal with someone to give them some extended payment terms, it doesn't show that it's going to come in on the invoice date. It shows the day that it's really going to come in, which helps you manage your cash flow. Now let's look at creating invoices. Now we're going to go through this live when we finish the PowerPoint, but just to go through the process. So the top left hand corner of the sales dashboard, we click on New and Invoice. Then we go through, we enter the customer details, their name, assuming here that these people have been set up in contacts previously, so it's going to have their address and details come through automatic on the invoice. If you haven't set them up in contacts, you're going to need to go to do this first. Otherwise, you'll get an invoice that says an invoice to BizComs, but no address, which looks a little bit tacky. So we go through, we put in their details, who it's to, the date, the due date. Now you have a system setting in your Xero that sets your automatic due date, which might be plus 14 days or plus 7 days. You can also set due dates by customer, which we'll get into in later series along the webinar, or you can override the due date there if you want to. The invoice number comes through automatically from 0. The reference that's there is a good place to put the purchase order if you work for organisations that give you purchase orders, or perhaps an address. So you may be a real estate agent that you're invoicing, where you do perhaps some lawn mowing for various clients, and you'd put the address of the place that you're actually invoicing them for. From there we can go through and you can put items in if you want to. So if you have regular invoices that you create that have the same thing, so an example here is a monthly website fee or a service fee, you can actually add a new inventory item there, and instead of having to type in monthly service fee, you can just type SER and service fee will come up automatically, which will put the description in and the price in. So you then just need to put the quantity in and go from there. So you can see here we've typed monthly, the website fee, wanted $120, it's going to go to sales, and then we would have GST on income here. This is obviously an American printout from Xero that we're using, but we would have GST on sales and the amount in Australian dollars. Once you're happy with that, you can attach related documents if you need to. So if you have something to remind you, or perhaps a delivery docket, you could insert that into the file system. And we have talked about files in various webinars previously. Once you're happy, we save it. Now you can see down the bottom here we've got save. You can save as draft, save and continuing to edit, save and submit for approval, or save and add another. Now different organisations have different rules regarding the ability of people to actually create invoices. Some bigger organisations allow some staff members to enter the information and it must be approved by someone else. If you have the authority to approve, you don't need to save it unless you want to go back to it. You can simply hit the approve button, which is the green one on the right hand side here. Once you've done that, you can click on the email to invoice it or send it directly to your client. So you can see here we've got an invoice to Visit Bizcoms. Your email template, you can change that template there, and you can customize them so that they say exactly what you would like them to say. You can also overwrite the writing at this stage. You just type over it, it's not a problem. And then you click the PDF attachment and mark it as sent. You can send yourself a copy if you want to, but generally that just clogs up your inbox. If you want to be able to use the online invoicing to track whether people have actually viewed your invoice or not, you don't click the PDF attachment here, because what happens is there's a line that will come up and says click here to view your invoice, the invoice online link, and when someone clicks in and creates themselves a login to have a look at that, what it actually does in your list of your invoices, where we saw sent before, it actually shows as viewed, and it puts a history in. I think we get to that further down the slides here, but I'll just cover it now, that if someone has viewed your invoice, it puts a date stamp and who viewed it. So if by chance you need to go to any debt collection situations, that you've got proof that they opened it. And it's also very good when you have the phone call and you ring someone up and say, Bill, you haven't paid my invoice, and he goes, oh, I haven't got it, you better resend it. And you can actually say, well, Bill, you actually opened that on the 2nd of October, so I know that you've seen it. Happy to send it to you again, but just to let you know that we know that you've received it. So it puts you back in the driver's seat when people are trying to fob you off. And when you're finished with what's in there, we just hit send. So from the client's view, this is what they would see once they've logged in. They can create a PDF or a CSV account. They can save the document. If they have questions, they can type in there and send something back to you. So you can see that it's just a normal online invoice. This green Pay Now button at the top left-hand side is not an automatic facility. So if someone has a payment add-on such as eWay or Stripe or PayPal, you can link it to your, or IntegraPay, you can link it to your invoices, and what that will do, if they click on the Pay Now, it takes them to a credit card gateway that they can pay your invoice straight away. So in a lot of cases, it can speed up your payment process because people get the invoice, can click on Pay Now and pay it straight away. Very, very handy for people on the go, such as tradies who are out on site. For instance, I had a plumber recently come and fix my toilet. He could grab his phone or his tablet, invoice me, email it to me. I can get it straight away while he's there, click on Pay Now, put my credit card details in, and he knows that he's been paid before he drives off, which means he doesn't have to chase me for months and months to get the payment if I don't pay him. So a very cool function that Xero has. Obviously there's extra fees involved because it's a merchant facility, but the savings can be quite substantial. When people do log in and they want to save the invoice here, they've got a choice. If they already have a Xero login, they can log in, which means that they'll then have an ability to go and look at these invoices in the future or see which ones that they have, or they can actually create a login, which will give them some features at no cost. The other thing that they can do is, if they do create a login, is that they can create a statement if they wanted to themselves. Whether people would do that, I'm not exactly sure, but it is a feature that they have. But it also then can assist people to move to Xero. Xero don't do this for free for the fun of it. They want people to use Xero. So you can actually add your business and sign up to Xero from there if you wanted to. So let's go back and talk about that history that I was talking about before, when I was saying that we prove that the invoices have been viewed. So if we go into the invoice here for BizComms, and we click down the bottom, it's got a history and notes. You can click on the show history and it shows you the whole system. So it shows you when it was created, when it was approved, when it was sent, and when it was viewed. So that's really interesting, that if you do have to go to a debt collection situation, that it is all there. And also, if you're going in and adding your date and notes, which we talked about earlier, if someone was saying, well, I haven't got the money, I'm waiting for a cheque to clear, but I'll pay you on Monday, it'll actually put this in here as well. And you can either add them directly from the invoice screen, or from the history you can add note and expected payment date. So very handy. And if you then need to, as I said, go to debt collection, you can just print screen that and all your history of what's happened is there. Also really handy if you've got a separate person doing your debt collection and you just want to see what's going on, you can always click on it and see where it is. Now, we've been talking the whole way through the session here about getting to our sales invoices by going accounts and sales. You can also click on the new sales invoice here. But let's do it the way we've been going through. So accounts and sales brings you to your sales dashboard. Now what you can see here is that we have our invoices, so our draft, our awaiting payment and our overdue, and nice pictures of what's coming in and who owes us the most. At the moment it's a list, but we can change that to a pie graph if we'd rather see it like that. And then we have our quotes down the bottom. So let's look first at going through and creating an invoice. So new invoice, and we want to send it to Ridgeway University. And if I just hit tab through here, it has its automatic settings come up for the due date. Now we're going to go into the customization shortly, but let's just work through this system. If you wanted to actually change the date here and you want to say in 7 days, I type +7 and tab, and it comes up with the amount of the days. The invoice number comes up automatically as the next invoice, our reference and our branding, and you can see here that we have a couple of different invoice settings. So we have standard, special projects, and a very orange invoice. I'm going to use standard for this one. And then if we have set things there as items or inventory items, you can choose what it is. Now this demo company I know has some bizarre things. It has golf balls and project management. So I'm going to look at project management for here, and we can see that it comes up with a description because it's been set up. The quantity, the unit price, and everything else comes out automatically. So I'm going to go into the quantity and change that to 2, and it automatically changes everything else. Once we're happy with that, we have our save buttons down the bottom: save as draft, save and continue, save and submit for approval, or save and add another. I've got authority to approve this, so I'm just going to hit on approve. What it then does is that you can click on here to add another invoice, but it comes up with the ability to email it, to print it. If we click on it, we can repeat it. So if we're doing invoices for similar people, we can void it if we know that it's wrong, we can copy it, we can edit it, or we can add a credit note. So let's say that we're happy with this. If we know that it's been paid, we can put the date paid and which bank account that it went through. But let's look at the email as we've discussed through the PowerPoint earlier. So it's going to accounts at Ridgeway, our email template. We can do a sales invoice overdue or our basic one. And what it says here is that sales invoice from demo company for Ridgeway University is the email heading. Now I can change this if I like. I can just type over anything here and I can say hi Bev, because I know that Bev's the person that it goes to, and then I can make sure I hit mark as sent. If we have uploaded invoices or something to the actual, or bills to the invoice, so perhaps I might be forwarding on something and on charging it, you can attach file attachments if you wanted to. You don't have to. So from time to time you may have things that you want to link to an invoice, and we get into that in greater detail further down this series, but you can include it there. We can include the PDF attachment if we want to. Now we don't want to, because we want to make sure that they go through the online process. We do want to mark it as sent, but I don't want to send me a copy because I get enough emails every day. And we just hit send. So when we hit send, it comes through, says that the email has been sent successfully. If I go back to my invoices, what we can see here is it's showing as sent. If I then click onto it, we can see down the bottom there's history, and we can see it was created by me, it was approved, and then it was sent. And then if and when Bev opens it, it'll come up with invoice opened and the details there. So as we mentioned before, very handy for debt collection. My name's Victoria Berry. I'm one of the directors of HBA Encompass. So if you need to contact me, my email address is victoria@hbaencompass.com.au, or of course our phone number is 0754 44 7094. Thanks for listening.